We have ignition. Strap in. You're about to listen to.
Welcome to the NBZ podcast.
Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was.
NBZ.
I just told you. That's who I think I am.
I'm a terrible person who's come to believe unforgivable things.
Continuing on with the retro kind of vibe, we're going to go in with another interview with a buddy of mine, Ryan. Buckle up. What's up? What's going on? Welcome back to the NBZ podcast, episode 2. Here we are with Ryan Cook at Buckley's in Belltown on a Wednesday night, hanging out. What's going on, Ryan? How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little bit bummed that we don't have Wednesday night music anymore because of the city of Seattle, and I won't go into that, but maybe we'll hit back to that a little bit later.
All right, live music is ended here at Buckley's on Wednesdays, but I want to sit down with you today, just talk about things. Like Ryan is, I met Ryan here at Buckley's. He's a regular now, and I find him just interesting, funny. I consider him a friend. This past weekend we went to up to Stevens Pass, did some snowboarding together. It was a really good time. I ended up getting pink eye and sick, but that is indicative of how much fun we had, pretty much. So Ryan, tell me a little bit about yourself. Let's introduce you to my audience.
Well, it's a hard question.
Nah, it's not hard. Who are you? Where are you from? Where did you grow
question,
up?
In short, but yeah, I'm a transplant here. I'm new, not nude, but new, and I'm almost 2 years in Seattle, and I work in sports, so it's put me all over the country and some European stuff. But long story short, I live down the block, and so when you say a regular, I want to make it clear to the audience, it's not a regular as far as an alcoholic, because Buckley's is also a sports grill, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
It's a restaurant.
I eat here every day, right?
Yeah. And occasionally you dabble in the liqueurs.
It's only because of my recent separation and life change, which we'll talk about later. But I'm trying to slow it down on the liqueurs.
Okay, no worries. No judgment.
And the mota.
So, how old are you, Ryan?
I said, why you gotta go there?
Because we just gotta establish for the people like who you are.
I am 34 and a half.
34 and a half. And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California, kind of a mix between Los Angeles and Orange County, Newport Beach.
Okay. Cool.
Great growing up.
Nice, good upbringing. And what was life like in the California sun?
I miss it. I miss it a lot. I tell you that. I definitely miss the lifestyle. It's a little bit sometimes intimidating. Can be pretentious, but anywhere can be if that's what you're looking for.
In the right pockets, right?
Yeah. But I grew up kind of beach kid and on the water, and I'm very grateful to my parents just for the lifestyle that they created. And that, that's kind of why I've been working or trying to so hard to try to, figure it out so I can take care of them one day.
Yeah. So what do you actually do for work?
At this time, I have a couple things going on. I own a baseball team, and I'm an assistant athletic director at a small university in Seattle.
Cool.
And I basically am in sales. I raise money for the university for the athletics department, and then on the baseball side, I go in, I find projects, find investors, and we buy teams, fix it up. I kind of run the revenue side of that, and then we package it, and sell it, or we have an exit strategy behind it. This is my second and a half, third that I've done or that I'm working on.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about, so sales is that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you and sit down with you today. One of the focuses of our podcast is sales. And I've obviously worked in sales also, having a background in Anheuser-Busch before I got selling beer to all these people here at Buckley's. But what, in your mind, what does it take to be good at sales?
That's another long question. But in short, really attitude. To me, it's, I look at sales very similar to competing as an athlete. And I know that you were, a collegiate athlete. And swimming, obviously, is a real tough mental sport.
And so were you a collegiate athlete?
I was. I wanted to play basketball, but I stopped growing after 6th grade. So I switched to water polo, and I credit my mom for that. But long story short, I got to play at USC, University of Southern California, not the Gamecocks, Trojans, fight on. And, I kind of attest sales to, being on a team, being, competing in the regular season or preseason, regular season, postseason, and it's exciting. There's a lot of losses, hopefully not more than the wins. But you learn, you get beat up, you get slapped around, and really it's your team, it's the product that you're selling that wakes you up in the morning. And for me right now, it's sports that does that. So I was able to kind of transfer, being an athlete into my career and really my hobby. Sometimes working isn't like work, but I just need to figure out how to make a little bit more money.
It's all good. I think it's everybody's dream for to be able to go to work and not have it feel like work.
Yeah.
One thing I do notice about you, I know a little bit about Ryan because I'm kind of semi-close to him. I talk to him a lot. I do notice that. So you said product, being happy about the product and whatnot when you sell. But I noticed, and I don't want to poo on any of the products that you represent, but I've noticed that when you do sell, the things that you do within your sales tactics, you don't focus on the product, you focus on other things. Talk to me a little bit about how you sidestep that.
I know that you're smart because you picked that up. And I'm not putting down the product I'm selling as far as the team that I represent. I'm very proud to be a part of what I am. But that being said, most of my career, and there's a lot of guys like me, I started in the pros in the NBA and then in sales and then moved to the MLB and did some NHL, NCAA stuff. And then I moved to minor leagues. But long story short, in the minors you learn it's not about wins or losses. It's not about sometimes even the show. It just got to be kind of a good game. What it's about is a fan experience, and what it's about are the people and the promotions and really just fun. And when you kind of take everything away from what, and I'm not being negative, but what sports is to me, and I'm lucky to have been athletic, but to me it's just a show. It's almost the same as if I had a good voice, or if I was an actor, or if I was on stage. To me, LeBron James is the same as, you name an actor that I just don't know that many names, but long story short, it's the same to me as that. And so I look at myself as kind of a producer or a director in the sense of infrastructure and really building a total package for fan experience. And that may be like, for instance, Buckley's pregame or postgame, and just adding events to what we have to make it more fun.
Right.
And, then maybe I get a sponsor for a bar tab, and now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I got a tailgate party taken care of. And now I might get some younger people to come to the games that maybe wouldn't have before.
Right.
And in the minors, it's very easy to do that with promotions on a daily basis, like Thirsty Thursday or 2-for-1 Tuesdays. But it's funny you touched on that, because it is kind of coming from where I've always worked. I've always picked, because I thought you'd make the most money, and now I don't make that much money. It's like a pro bono job I have. But I've always picked the challenge, and maybe that's, again, something about me that I really am looking for a competition, or maybe that's something about myself that I'm just messed up. I don't know. But I've been on the Clippers, when we didn't have Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and try selling that. I sold everything but the Clippers. Come see the Lakers for half price. Have a suite for $600 as opposed to $3,000. Different ways to promote the product. And then, I went to the New Orleans Hornets when we went broke. So our owner was George Shin, and basically the bank called the debt, and the NBA stepped in and bought the team. So, we could have moved, and people, in New Orleans, it's not like people even like basketball. Really, they like football. That's about it. So long story short, I jumped from teams and then the Angels that haven't really done much since they won the World Series in 2002, I think. Mm-hmm. Same kind of story as Mariners. But anyways, I've been on teams that haven't necessarily been, and I don't want to say winners in the sense of the franchise, but winners in the sense of wins versus losses.
Right.
And guys like me, if you're winning, I don't think that we really have jobs, because you can hire, customer service people instead of business development or new business.
Right.
That was a long-winded way of answering your question.
No, but I love it. I think that's really important. So outside of, creating in your specific job of, fan experience, outside of, like not selling your product, what else do you value in, like, because I see you navigate every day.
Yeah.
And outside of just selling at work, you are a great relationship person. I don't want to, like, softball that to you, but you captivate people and bring people in. And I think that's, in my mind personally, that's a huge part of sales. But you're kind of almost masterful at that gig.
I think is being part of a team. Like, one thing about me, and the reason why I put, like, and I might die at 40. Because I put so much energy into most things that I do, or I put no energy in. So I kind of, like, again, attest that to being just a team athlete my whole life,
right? And
loving being part of something bigger than me. Do I want to be a leader? Yes. Am I right now? I don't know. And that, probably not. But in the sense of, like, relationships and networking and putting people together, that's probably my favorite thing. And if you ask me what probably, I guess, what wakes me up in the morning, like, that's what it is. Like, if I didn't have a job or I didn't have to work, I'd still be doing what I'm doing and trying to put people together and help. But I want to go back to one thing real quick that kind of makes me laugh a little bit with you, and your perception is very good. But when I first met you and now today, and I don't mean to ask you a question, but
go ahead.
You kind of had this attitude. Oh, it's here comes Cookie. What's he selling today? Here we go again. Like, and then you would make comments to me, like, all the time, like, like, basically, like, a car, like, your heart's not in it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, are you making money? I don't even make commission. So I guess my question to you is, to you, what differentiates salespeople? Or do you think that we're all just a bunch of sleazy?
Everybody's selling. Everybody's selling all the time. Like, 100% for sure. Everybody's selling something all the time. I can't. So I'll tell you this one thing about me and people's perception of me. I often have, like, a shitty resting bitch face. I'm kind of negative on the upfront. I'm a little bit skeptical of people all the time. And I kind of try to see through people's bullshit, because I think everybody has a layer of bullshit. And either you're going to have a lot of bullshit on top, or you have thin layer, and then I get to see the real person. And then I perceive you as, like, oh, is this person real, or is this person just, another? I have to be on my toes all the time as a bartender. So I'm always like, who the fuck is this guy? What are you doing? And, like, oh, but after a while, after I kind of, like, took a few layers off of you, I'm like, yo, no, Cookie's a good dude. Yeah, like, so...
Because that's hard. It's hard being in the space that I am, because truthfully, there's with sales, as you know, there's pressures, there's numbers, you don't really control often a lot of things, including your boss or what you're selling, or all those kind of things. So what you're selling one day could change
totally, and
then really your reputation was based on what you just sold, and then now it's different. So it's hard to be. What I'm saying is, it's something that I always think about is, like, do I want to be doing what I am doing because of the perception and the grind and the way that people just eat us kind of alive? Like, totally. The way that I look at it,
chew you up.
In sales or in business, you call it sales or whatever I do, is truthfully, when I partner with somebody or look to work with somebody, I already believe in them, and I really take it personally, and I do my best. Now, sometimes those aren't going to work out, and in those times, then I got to be a man and say, hey, 9 out of 10, okay, maybe 5 out of 10, my ideas aren't going to work out, but I'm trying, and hopefully I establish the relationship, which is why it's so important.
Right.
And, at that point, hopefully they got close to what they expected or wanted. But
Nah.
a lot of the time, you don't control it.
I agree. I like one thing I realized when I met you. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I don't really want to go see a Seattle U game, but I want to go hang out with Cookie. So it's like, it's cool. Like I'm like genuinely, you sold me on you before you sold me on whatever you're selling. So I'm like, all right, cool. This guy made a genuine relationship with me that it's hard. And I'll tell you this right now, as a bartender and as just being Nick, I'm not sold by anybody.
Bro, you were a dick. The first time I met you, do you remember? I asked you, I'm like, do you have a Seattle U flag or whatever? And I live around here. I got a new job. I'm all excited. I thought Seattle U, D1, I was all excited. I'm like, Elgin Baylor. I come in here, there's no flag. There's every other flag, right? And you looked at me and you're like, you should come around more often. Literally, that's what she said.
Yeah.
So I came back every day. And then now we got 2 flags up.
See? Boom. But it's true. That's people like, do you guys have Vikings flag or whatever flag? I'm like, well, I don't know who you are from Jack, but that guy over there got a Dolphins flag because he was here every Sunday.
Yeah.
And he's a friend.
But isn't that most like sales? I'd say like before you buy something, you got to trust what you're buying. Now online and the technology today is changing that. But prior to that, really, you did business with who you trusted and who you knew and who you liked.
Right.
And really who you liked, right?
Totally.
So I've always I think I learned that from my dad. My dad's kind of been constant relationship guy, always maybe to his detriment, like taking people to dinner and trying to make sure that, that other people are taken care of and maybe help other people before you think about yourself.
But I can't. Just pause for 2 seconds. Like that, I can never see that as being a detriment because showing someone a good time or caring for somebody in a way, I'm like, dude.
I'm just saying financially.
Oh.
I'm not saying. Yeah.
All right.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's great.
Yeah.
That's why you could tell me stop doing that, and I won't. Money to. I mean, hopefully I make enough where I can take care of people. But money to me is different than a lot of the ways that my family or other people look at it.
Yeah.
Now I'm grateful to have help and have what I have. But that being said, I work so hard, and I will continue to do that so that I can take care of others in the future and leave something behind.
Yeah.
One day, hopefully, before I'm 45 and pass away.
I want to kind of key in on that and kind of talk about your upbringing and stereotypes and kind of projections and expectations. I know that money is everything, and my personal opinion on money is it's pieces of paper. They're like and everybody's a slave to the dollar, no matter how rich or poor you are. The planet or the world or the society we live in, everybody's a slave to the dollar.
But isn't that today, and not to jump in real quick before your question, but isn't that today because of the media? I mean, like, for instance...
Well, yeah, it's a projection that's put out.
Would anybody want to be LeBron James if he wasn't making $28, and I don't know if that's right, but $28 million a year?
And
I've said his name twice, but let's...
it's easy. It's easy. Like, he's a basketball star. I think, honestly, seeing people... I observe people every day. I think some people actually want that spotlight. They might not want the money. The money's nice. Money's always nice in whatever you do. But some people actually want eyeballs, attention, adoration, people talking about them or wanting their opinion. They want people to care about them. And I'm not sure if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but like some people just need that. And I'm not saying they're not. I will judge a little bit and say maybe they're missing something along the way that they didn't get in their upbringing that they're like want that. But
isn't there a song about that, like Instagram models or something like that?
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Because that's insane. I think
Instagram model. That song.
You got a new cut right there.
I know it. Usually I dance to that stuff, but I was thinking about that. But that's what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
It's either that. Like a lot of, a lot of people want attention. It makes them feel better about it. So social media now, right?
Right, which is crazy.
Or obviously our mainstream media that, if you look back to what sports were back when, it really was first for the love of the game.
Yeah.
And for the kids.
Right.
And as a show, right? Entertainment, World Wars, during Depression, that kind of stuff. It was entertainment. And it was America's game to bring people together. When I was in New Orleans and they won the Super Bowl, the crime stopped for like 3 days. There was none, and white people hugging black people, purple people, pink people, Asian people, and it didn't matter what your color or what you looked like.
City
people were
unity.
high-fiving and hugging in New Orleans.
Community.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Right.
So sports, that's what it does.
Right.
But now, again, I think just because of society, and I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of this, it's money drives that. And I honestly, I'm not like I won't take the money to screw somebody over, but I'll tell you right now, I'm definitely money hungry for the purpose of building to give back.
Okay, so was that always the case when you're upbringing? Like I want to get down to the core of when you were out of college, ready to attack the world. I think everybody has these expectations or dreams of being like, yo, give me 5 years, I'm going to do this, I'm going to buy it. I'm pretty, maybe you were going to buy this baseball team, you're going to flip it 2 years later, 3 more million, 4 more million, and I'm just going to be this. And by the age of 34, where you are right now, I was going to have 7 baseball teams or one big, huge MLB.
Dude, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. I can't even tell you how, stupid, I was. And also, I think, obviously, factors change that with your family or with finances or with relationships or jobs, but I think it's easy when you grow up, and I wouldn't say that I was uber wealthy, but when you grow up in that society and have everything you want and you look around and everybody else has that or more, you expect that, and you are conditioned that if you don't reach that or if you don't do better, then you're not good enough. And honestly, it's not even for me, just to tell you what I think about every day. It's really not even about the social stereotype of that or being conditioned. It's just the way that I think. From a kid, I've always been like, Mom, I'm gonna buy you a house, or I'm gonna buy, I even told her hey, I'm gonna have a separate wing in my house for you, and Dad, I'm gonna buy you a 57 Caddy convertible, That was one of my first cars I drove when I was 16, and I was so dumb I couldn't figure out the windshield wiper, so I had to drive like Ace Ventura at 4:30 in the morning to water polo practice, and the whole windshield would be iced out, so my whole head was out the window. So anyways, it's good memories growing up, and that's part of the reason why now today. And also, I messed around a lot, so much.
What do you mean messed around?
I just enjoyed life so much, and really in college, I took 6 or 7 years on purpose, and I really just didn't understand finance and that kind of stuff, and I really had the best time of my life. And now it's time to get real and stop messing around so that I could give back and then continue maybe later on and have a good time. To answer your question.
So what? So some of the good times. Where were the good times spent that you were having those over that time period?
I knew you were gonna ask that. A lot of memories in Cabo San Lucas. On large ships.
Ships.
Yeah, that's
what's the definition of a ship?
Bigger than a yacht.
What's a yacht?
Minimum 100 and.
A yacht is 100.
No.
We're
a yacht's let's say 45.
We're spitballing here. Okay.
45. And to about 100 and
whatever.
30, 40.
So over 100.
Anything over that, I kind of call a ship or a mini cruise ship.
So you were on things that are over 140 feet.
Many. Like I said, growing up in that environment. Let me tell you one story in Cabo.
That's crazy.
I went to USC. My neighbors were Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Cedric Ellis, Frosty Rucker.
Wow.
Tons of NFL guys, and they're good. They were good guys. We partied. We went to Vegas on planes. We had a lot of people around us just flooding with money, and truthfully, my job was just to have fun and dance and bring the energy up every day.
You became such a good dancer,
I think I became a good dancer. I don't say that cocky. I just think that natural rhythm comes into play, and when you got it, you got it.
Okay.
And then second, which I'm so glad we moved to Newport Beach when I was 9, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, we were going to the Dodger game. It was the Rodney King riots, and my mom's like, "Screw this, we're moving to Newport. LA's going crazy. There's fires everywhere." And literally, because we go to Newport every summer, she just kept driving. We never went back to LA, and my dad stayed there. He was working in television. My sister was at a school called Marlboro. She stayed there. My little sister and I and my mom moved into this place called the Balboa Bay Club, which was heaven. It's like a club, pools, bar, boats, gym, basketball, anything you could think of on the water. And that was my life. And so I'm so grateful that happened. Not the Rodney King riot, but just us moving.
Life-changing event.
Yeah, because it really just, I don't know, we grew up in a very good life, and now that's kind of reflective of what I want to provide. And I'm recently, just to tell you, out of a 9-year relationship, I was dumped about 2 months ago and engaged for 7.5 years, I think, maybe 7.65, 9er. And so I'm still trying to figure out like my whole like who or what now I want to be or am, because I was having and I know I'm talking a little bit long-winded, but I was having kind of a moment before she dumped me in the sense of, okay, maybe career now isn't as important to me as is family, and maybe I need to focus on finding just a job, right? Just a way to make money, because most of us are capable if we want to, which will lead me to another subject of Seattle after we talk about this, but and society and government. But long story short, I believe that all of us are capable to do whatever we want to do. We just have to try, and that goes back to attitude and what makes a good salesperson or business person. Getting dumped 2 months ago in Portland in a hotel on the phone, over a phone, it really affected me. I didn't think it would as much as it has, but now the past 2 months to me is more of a who do I want to be? Who's important in my life, who I want to take care of? How much money is that going to take? And also, am I able to do that doing what I'm doing right now in sports? Or do I have to change? Or where do I move?
So just like pulling back and taking a macro look at everything.
Everything. And also like my health, my habits, my friends, my money. I mean, you name it. Everything that I really am starting. I wish I had this epiphany when I was 25 instead of 34 or 5. But people mature at different ages, and I'm extremely slow, I think my parents would tell you. But I'm getting there. I've always had the heart to do that. It's just that I really was enjoying life a little too much in my 20s probably. Right. And before that, I just was really focused on athletics,
right.
And family or whatever, just being a nerd and whatever I was.
So you moved here. How long did you move to Seattle? Like, what is it, a couple years now?
Yeah, I think it's been almost 2 years in May. I think May or June, right around there.
What's your take on Seattle since you've been here?
I'm glad you asked, because I really want to talk about a topic called Seattle Freeze. And I moved here, anytime you move, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've lived in a lot of places. Anytime you move, there's almost like a 6-month kind of growing / adjusting / learning culture.
Personal growth or what's growing?
I believe yes, but I'm more talking about like meeting people, understanding the streets, understanding the demographic, being able to drive, knowing where you live,
right.
knowing how to talk, I guess personal growth, but also I'd say just getting your feet wet, right? Like jumping in a different pond or being in a different I'm a lifeguard, so being in a different beach or swell, right? Like you're not going to just jump into the wedge in Newport and try to slide a 20-foot shore break if you're used to surfing San Onofre or, I don't know, wherever outside breaks. Like it's different. You're going to break your freaking neck. So my point is that every time you move, there's a big adjustment phase, and the rookies, the first moves, the second moves, they get a little depressed, or they 3 months in, they're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. By this is like my 10th or 8th move or 20th. I knew that, but long story short, Seattle, it takes longer. So 6 months in, I'm like, I'm still yelling at homeless people, crackheads. I'm still yelling at bus drivers. My car got broken into 3 times. My computer got stolen out of my office. It rains every day at some point. I'm butt white. Like I'm butt white.
What does that mean?
Like I'm the whitest I've ever been. Like I'm butt white. Yeah, and that affects you. I got to take like vitamin D pills and okay, so that's the negative, right? Like once you get past all that bad stuff, about a year in, and some people say it takes 3, but I got some great friends with you guys, and I got some good support behind me, Seattle U, and I met a lot of good people. So I was expedited. But it took me at least a year, and I was telling my folks this too, and my ex, you know, and don't judge me by this, but F this place. It ain't for me, man. I'm too friendly. I say hi to people on the streets. Like I don't want to look down at the street. Like it's, you know, I'm getting depressed. And the plan was to move home, you know, and probably quit and try to find a real estate job and go sell a $4 billion mansion with some crowd molding and some. What is that? Marble? You know, it's just not me though. I know I can make money, but it's just not me. And long story short, after that, and I moved into a different place. There was no AC, and I was like in the summer sweating, and in the winter like freezing.
It doesn't even get that hot here.
But 2 summers ago, it was like 95. It was hot. Let me put it this way. I turned into a nudist. You know, like I was. I swear, I was.
What's wrong with that, bro?
Because I sweat. I'm like a chia pet. You know, I got pores everywhere, and it was horrible. You know, my skin was breaking out. Like it just was a bad deal, and I was unhappy. But long story short, that changed. I adjusted. I stopped living like a Californian. Like you can't drive here every day.
Right.
Okay, you're gonna go batshit crazy. Like seriously, if you try to drive in Seattle every day, like I bet you'll be here 6 months or a year and you're out. It's worse than LA in certain times and areas. So I just stopped. I just learned, keep your car underground, won't get broken into by the bums. Take your car out at selective times. Don't drive so much and don't make your life so hard. Try to do phone and Skype. You get tech savvy, you know, start tapping into Seattle. So I changed my thinking and finally like woke up to, hey bro, this ain't California or this ain't East Coast. Dude, this is Seattle. You got to act a little different. Okay. Right. So now I want to switch that answer and talk about Seattle Freeze. Okay. So I guess my answer is I love Seattle now. Right. There's so much to do. The restaurants, the diversity, the food, the outside of Seattle, for instance, the mountains, the Olympic Peninsula, Vancouver, the San Juan Islands, the Lake Washington, the Sound. There's so much to do here that I'm obsessed with the geographics of this location, and I'm obsessed with the water. Yeah. So I could see myself here forever if I can fly to Hawaii at least once to twice a year, and if I can go home to California maybe every other month. You know, I need a little bit of sun, and I need to kind of get that. And I'm not saying I'm a stuck-up moron, but I need a little bit of that pretentious. No. Like I'm not pretentious, but I want to see a Phantom Rolls, and I want to see girls in heels and guys in $2,000 suits.
Totally
and
get it. Motivation.
You know, yeah. And it's not because like, oh, that's who I am or what to be, but I like a common mix. I don't want too much of one thing, and I'm very diverse in the sense of I have a hyper ADD. If it's too much of the one thing, I'm done. I'm bored.
There's plenty of money here, though.
There is, but it's not in the city anymore. It's spread out.
Yeah.
I mean, the Gates, all of them are hiding now, you know, because this city's turned into San Francisco. There's more, you know, I'll tell you one thing, too, with the whole Seattle Freeze. It's not Seattle Freeze. It's not the people, okay? Because the people here are like that aren't from Washington. Those people are nice, genuine people. I remember coming here when you know, years back, when you wouldn't know where you were, and somebody would stop you on the street before you even asked and said, hey, can I help you? What's happened in the last 10 years with tech boom, taxation, all that, is you've got now such a diverse culture / LA, San Fran, New York, metropolitan, that people don't like each other. And there's so much social disparity with the homeless, the crackheads, the bums, the nurturing of the heroin needles, that anywhere you walk in downtown within a 2-block ratio, you're getting asked for money, for any, you know, and it's not by normal, like, hey, can you help me? It's by crackheads. It's scary. And for a female, like, you know, I'm 6'5", 3-ish, and I'm a skinny space dude, but, you know, I'm like 190. Like, at least I know I can run or I can hit somebody. Like, I wouldn't want my ex that dumped me walking around, you know, the streets. So that's a scary problem, and that's why I believe that people don't say hi on the streets anymore.
So you think that that's the reason why I don't like you
I don't think that's the sole reason.
So you look like a normal upstanding dude passing a normal other upstanding person. You say hi, the other person doesn't say hi. You blame that on the fact that that person thinks you're a crackhead?
You know what's funny is I've done that so many times, and almost 85% of the time, maybe more, the people it's not that they're not going to say hi back. They're kind of shocked you said hi. Then they have to take like a second
Process.
to analyze. Yeah, process. And then they realize, whoa, dude, you're just a normal guy saying hi. And then most of the time I get like a weird, hey, hi, like way late, And I just kind of laugh to myself, because I believe that has a very big part to do with it.
All right. Well, I get what you're saying. Trust me. And I didn't chime in before, but I'll echo your year time frame of getting to know what Seattle's like. I was here for a year, got super depressed. I was working for Anheuser-Busch. Just pimped their corporate card out to the max on dates, online dates.
Why?
Just because I was bored and I was like, yo, I need some friends. So I would just take girls out to like very expensive meals, and expense it on my credit card to an account that was mine.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, I was trade spending.
But you don't seem like I don't see you doing that in the sense of, hey, fuck Budweiser or whoever.
Oh no, I wasn't.
I think it was more like, hey, I'm just trying to style.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like kind of kill two birds with one stone. This girl, hopefully, in my bed.
Yeah.
And then also the account because they're gonna love me.
Right.
Now, granted, probably boss after that.
After a couple times,
What?
they're like,
$40,000?
what is going
Yeah.
on? Like, but anyway, figured it out eventually, and it did take me a year. It took me a year. I'm from the East Coast, didn't know anything about hiking. What hell? Someone wanted to walk up a mountain to the top and look out. So what? Just like I know what it looks like up there. I don't need to go up there. And then eventually I started to.
Is that a pickup line though? Like,
Nah.
Isn't it like, hey, let's go hiking?
No,
like,
people
I'm
love
still
to go
trying to figure
hiking
that. I know.
And kayaking and all this stuff. But I was talking to you earlier and said something about like a personal growth. I grew the most when I left the East Coast to come here. I rode on my motorcycle with about 20 dudes. That's a group of people. I had all my college buddies right around the corner. So I had about probably 15 to 20. I lived with 4 of them. And close by, there was probably like 10 other people that I could go hang out with. My family was right there. And I already had my high school people back home.
This Connecticut? Or?
Yeah, back in Connecticut. And I was living in Boston. So within 3 hours or 2 hours, I could drive to anybody and have a network of people to hang out with, do something, to talk to. Everybody's in the same time zone. Now you move to the West Coast. You can't call anybody at the right time. This is new to me. I'm like, what? What do you mean people are sleeping? And I forgot to call my mom. Oops. So it was just hard to adjust, and I didn't have any friends. And then it's like, all right, now what do I do? So me being alone, quiet, by yourself, thinking.
Quiet?
Yeah, 'cause I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm home, like playing video games, or
I
like
get what you're saying.
watching baseball. Like nobody's around me. So I grew. My mind was thinking. I grew as a person. And eventually I was like, okay, let's figure out what the fuck, why people hike. So I got this girl I was dating, eventually became really good friends with her. We dated / hooked up for a while. Like I never really like stamped her as a girlfriend, but like we hooked up for a long time. And she had a bunch of other friends. So I like kind of networked. I got a nice little network of friends, and I was drinking beer all the time. Everybody wants to hang out with you if you're picking up a tab. So I started to grow a group of people, but still, even with all those friends, I didn't really like them sometimes, some of them. So I'm like, I would still go hang out. I still be by myself a lot. But eventually, after a year, I was like, figured it out. And it's like, all right, you're here, you're good. And I started doing some yoga and like just the whole body mind thing started growing. And I think that is the culture for out west, out Seattle, and yoga for me was a huge. It's fertile here. People love to like. It's like earthy crunchy. The East Coast, because in New York City, you walking down the street and there's plenty of people in suits, and there's a crackhead who looks like a crackhead, and it's not the same. So I can kind of counteract you and say like, yeah, in New York City you can walk down the street and nobody's gonna say hi to you for sure. Like not many people say hi to each other in New York City, but not as many people are afraid, or bums don't ask as much. Or, you know what I mean? It's like it's a little different.
Much bigger divide, I'd say.
There's
a bigger separation between the
huge
between the two. You know, you can tell, right?
Yeah.
Here, some of the normal people, they're fucking crazy. No. Oh, obviously, that's true too. Some of the Birkenstocks wearing shorts, like purple hair, are the wealthy. Yeah. But the opposite too. There might be somebody in New Brook shoes with, a Patagonia jacket, and they're straight out the loony bin doing heroin. Like I've never seen somebody do heroin with a needle in them until I moved here. And it's in the public next to Pike Market, and people are shooting up in public next to kids all day, every day.
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
It totally is. I think, Seattle's very kind to homeless people, or people who are down on their luck or whatever. They almost give them like a warm blanket.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Go ahead.
So one of the things when I moved here, like you, I didn't know anybody. I'm trying to meet people, and I was still adjusting. Mm-hmm. So part of me was like, man, I don't even like most of these people. I was the same way. I'm like, I try to talk, and then I just wasn't liking the conversation. And this is multiple times. So then I came up with this story. And I just was doing it just to mess with people. And most of the time, then I'd get yelled at and I'd stop. But long story short.
What's the story? Hold on. I can't just glass over that.
My whole go-to was I get to the point where they ask me, what do I do? Which is probably about the third question, right? Yeah. And either if it was a guy, he thought I was gay because I was talking to a guy next to me sitting at the bar. Because in Seattle, guys, I guess, don't say that or talk and say hi. Not at Buckley's. Buckley's, everybody talks. Or the girl usually looked at me like, why is this guy talking to me? But anyways, Once I got to that third, fourth question of why did you move to Seattle? And then I say I'm from California, and most people from Seattle, or the new Seattle, hate Californians, right? Because they're all moving. Yeah. But I'm not that pretentious dude. I just kind of like to look at that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
I grew up looking at Ferraris and Bentleys. Now, do I have one? No. Do I want one? I don't know. Maybe one day. But long story short, I would tell these people after I'd size them up a little bit. I would say, it's funny because your government brought me in. And then they look at me like, that's a funny thing to say. What do you mean? And I'm like, well, you've heard of like waste management? And they're like, yeah, we know it. Yeah, the trash guys or whatever, they cleaned up the city. I'm like, yeah, go green, all that stuff. I'm in that business. And they're like, well, okay, so you're mafia? I'm like, And they're like, okay, tell me more. And I'm like, what we're doing is we're buying islands, San Juan Islands, islands off of Vancouver, Victoria, etc. And we're contracting with your cities, all of them, because you're paying the money. And we're cleaning up your cities. And they look at me like, we already have trash men. I don't get what you're saying. And then I say, no. How many homeless do you walk by every day? Do you know some of the crackheads? Because I do. I know. I have memorized probably about 30 of them that live within a 2-mile radius of where I live in Belltown. So I know them, and I know, first of the month, 15th of the month. I know when they're messed up. I know when they're not. All that kind of stuff. And don't judge me by this stuff. But long story short, and this is a joke. I obviously have a heart, but so I tell the people, I'm cleaning up your city. I'm taking one homeless person at a time, and I'm moving them to that island. And they go, you're what? I go, right now we have 2,274 homeless people on Orcas Island in the rehabilitation center. And they go, concentration camp? I go, no, we're not killing anybody, but we're not letting them out or off the island until they're rehabilitated. And if they're not, guess what? They're staying on that island. You should see these people's face. I mean, they want to kill them. They go, like, it turns into, like, I'm the Antichrist.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing about it. And truthfully, I only do it to get a reaction.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing about it. Why are they socially conditioned to be so passionate about that? Because truthfully, the way that I see this is if we don't help these people by not giving them handouts and needles and drugs and more alcohol and more of a reason to hang out with their buddies and get fucked up and make them go to class, get educated, get healthy, get jobs, then how we're not helping them. No. We're hurting them.
Right.
And we're hurting ourselves because these people pee, do drugs, and make it unsafe outside your house every single day. I mean, if I'm scared, then everybody is.
I get it.
But why is there this social conditioning that is like, no, we have to drop everything. It's okay. Why is it not okay then for a guy like you who has a job or whatever? And this is a stupid, like, this isn't a apples to apples comparison, but why will you get arrested if you do heroin, but if they do heroin, we pay for it?
They'll get arrested too.
No, they won't. The cops do not arrest that. They have a needle sanctuary where they go turn.
So if I go outside and do heroin,
if you were in here right now
doing heroin,
and did heroin, you'd be arrested.
Yeah, and somebody called the cops.
Yeah, you'd be arrested.
Like, that's
but
true.
if and I don't want to say a bum because that's a
Vagrant.
non-politically correct term.
Vagrant, whatever you want to call them.
But if they're doing it, we pay for it. That's a problem, don't you think? Like
I said, Seattle's too nice, man.
Why? And I get it. I'm not trying to say there isn't like corporate help too, and companies getting all that stuff. I could go way deeper, but it'll take too long. But my point is that there's a problem, and we need to fix it.
I agree with you on that for sure.
And it leads to the reason why I say that is it leads to the attitude and that whole Seattle Freeze thing.
I'm not sure I'm going to link that.
It's not the main factor. I know.
I know.
But it is one factor.
Okay, I can see how
it is one factor. If there's a ton of scary people, and then now they're like 30% of your population, then that's going to culture that population or condition them, I guess I'm using, towards a certain way socially, if that makes sense.
Act to strangers.
Yeah, like I'm not going to go
it's
say
like zombie
anymore.
apocalypse.
Well, yeah.
In a mild way.
In a way, yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to take a short break, and then we're going to get a beer, and then we come back for wrap it up quickly. This is the NBZ Podcast with Ryan Cook, Episode 2. All right. Welcome back to the NBZ Podcast. We are here, got our drinks, and I'm here back with Ryan Cook at Buckley's in Belltown. Buckley's in Belltown, great place to come watch games. If you're ever in Seattle and you want to come watch a game, we got about 20 plus TVs here. We'll put on pretty much any game for you during regular normal times. Hockey, baseball, football. Football's crazy here on the weekends. Tacos are awesome. Probably the number one thing we have on the menu.
What? Mini corn dogs, bro.
Mini corn dogs are mini corn dogs.
How many mini corn dogs do you sell? I bet
Not
you more than
nowhere
really?
near.
Really?
Mini corn dogs are just fried corn dogs, dude.
No, what I'm saying is
Tacos are a creation.
No, I know. I'm not fighting that.
It's great.
And you guys have blackened chicken, which goes
Black
in
and
those
chicken
tacos.
tacos. Yeah, true.
But what I'm asking is, have you looked at the numbers for how many orders of corn dogs versus tacos?
No, it's like
Oh,
it's
really?
like night and day. There's no way we order corn dogs only during happy hour. Nobody eats corn dogs normally.
Except me.
Yeah, you're the only one that likes corn dogs.
Heart attack.
Pretty much.
Okay.
All right, Buckley's in Belltown. Great place. Come through. This podcast is sponsored by Buckley's in Belltown. All right, back with Ryan Cook. Here we go. So, Ryan, we've established lots of things about you and your personality, and let's bring it back to kind of you and like kind of where you are right now in life. You said 2 months ago you got dumped, and I want to know. So that's obviously another life-changing corner. Like your life is now took a hard left or a right, and now you're gonna you're figuring things out. You're on a street you don't know what's going on. What are the changes you've made in the last 2 months, or the things you've done in the last 2 months to kind of cope, change, bounce with it?
It's hard, man. I think it's actually been like even fresher, like maybe a month and a half.
Oh, word.
But that being said, I want to actually start it off with saying and giving a shout out to Georgetown Brewing.
Really?
Yeah, I love their products, especially like the
What's
IPAs.
Georgetown Brewing? A lot of people don't know who that is.
It's the local, a lot of like, Pacific Northwest are proud of their micros, and it's blowing up obviously as people see, like Ballast Point got bought for like $2 billion out of San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of these smaller regional companies with a specialization, call it an IPA, which is probably what I prefer. They're making some money. They're making some money, and Georgetown was actually one of the first. I'd say like real local, indigenous, like. It's all about the culture. It's a funny story because they broke off from Manny's, like Manny Pale Ale or whatever, Manny's. But long story short, to give you kind of like what it is, it's just a Seattle, Washington type indigenous micro brew that's been around for a long time. And then Georgetown is the city south of the Stadium District, so Soda.
A section of town.
Yeah, section of town. So that's what it's named after, and that's
Right.
where the factory is, or the brewery and all that.
Okay.
It's really cool. I mean, I would definitely suggest anybody going and filling up a growler and doing like a brew tour. And it's a place where everybody is nice. They say hi to you. There's no crackheads, no heroin, and just good times. So I want to say thanks to Georgetown. I'm drinking their products.
Word.
And start that way. But
Cookie's Ryan's a huge Lucille drinker, and Lucille is their IPA.
Yeah.
One of their IPAs.
It's delicious. I mean, it's got that hoppy kind of oomph, but then it's not too much for the person that doesn't want, that hoppiness, but it still has the content, like the alcohol content that isn't like crazy, like 10%, but what is it, like 8?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
It's very even. It's very even.
You get like 1 or 2, or don't go 3, but 2, and you're good.
Yeah,
so,
word.
anyways, I want to say thank you to my buddies at Georgetown, Matt and Mark, good people. And then kind of to answer your question, I really thought my life was going to go in a different way. I really thought that and I got animals, and I wanted to bring back my mini horses and my goats, and I'd give up my life right now to just have like a beach ranch, like on the Olympic Peninsula, which, by the way, you could get like 20 acres.
I forgot to tell the audience that Ryan has an alpaca, a couple of mini horses, and a wombat.
I wish a wombat. That's cool.
What do
A
you
wallaby.
have?
And
Wallaby.
let me kind of clear the distinction.
You know that shit's weird, right? Like,
Not if you love animals.
but like by any standard, like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I got like 3 exotic animals. Like, that's weird.
But I got to tell the story of why, right?
Gotta tell. I want to hear why.
And truthfully, right now, the alpaca named Harley, who's located in Elma, and the wallaby / kangaroo that's at the Outback, petting zoo or ranch in Arlington, is more of sponsored animals. Like, if I have property, then I can move them, right? But really, those are sponsored animals that I just go visit and play with, and not play with in a weird way. I feed, I take care, I brush the hair, sounds weird, but anyways, I can see that.
Not in a weird way, but it's weird.
I want to tell you why, though. So getting into minor league baseball, I was thinking about everything. And really, I was trying to make myself think like a kid, And so what do kids like? And I was like, man, we got to have animals walking around the stadium. And then I was like, oh, I can't have a real horse. It's going to hurt somebody. And I can't have big animals because there's liability. So I fell in love with little ones. And so I started researching, miniature horses, not donkeys, miniature horses, pygmy goats, and miniature horses or miniature goats. So I have a pygmy, an actual a real pygmy who's like black, gray, white. Her name's Cookie, and she's trained. My ex and I trained her on Balboa Island, which is like a remote tourist spot, and literally would like walk her around the boardwalk. I trained her to poo and pee in the sand, and so we'd walk her on a leash, and Cookie and I became best friends. So I ended up buying her for the kids, but truthfully, I ended up then falling in love with her and using her as a diversion.
What kids?
At the games, at all the games. Like, they were supposed to be like petting zoo animals, but instead I ended up falling in love with them and kind of using them as marketing promotions. And then really I would let them go wide open in the stadium and just walk around. So like down the aisles, and like literally there were animals cruising through the stadium, because those animals that I let do that were potty trained, and they wouldn't poop and pee. So I knew, where they would go and that kind of stuff. And then also I used them as diversions. So people I didn't want to talk to, I would have the goat with me or whatever, and I'd be like, hey, can you give me a call or shoot me an email like any normal business person, and then we can talk about these things rather than at the game, And so basically I would use the goat as a diversion. She became my life. She would go in the car with me everywhere, meetings. I took her back and forth from Newport to the stadium every day, which was like a 2.5-hour drive.
What?
I think she got a bladder infection from that, but goats aren't supposed to hold their pee for that long. But anyways, I tried to domesticate her, Cookie, and she was the best. And
No animals were harmed.
No. And truthfully, it was God, talk about crazy people. The goat farm that I got her at, oh my God. You talk about like scary. This lady, Rhonda. I mean, good people. Don't get me wrong. Rhonda and Norman, shout out to you. Just talk about those names. Rhonda and Norman. Rhonda hated kids. That was the first thing that she said to me is, I hate children. That was our first interaction. And mind you, where I got Cookie was right below an actual cult.
What?
Yeah, no joke. There was a cult called I want to say the Royal Way Ranch, WRW Ranch.
What kind of cult? Like,
It's in the high desert, and I you know, if your Royal Way people are listening, please.
I don't have an audience
no, not
at
you.
all.
I'm just saying it. If any time, because I don't want to be abducted, or I don't mean this in a negative way, and I'm sorry just for saying cult, because I called Chelsea's Bible study group a cult because I'm not allowed to go.
Well,
so
man, this podcast is going so great. I think you're just shooting yourself in the foot like 3 or 4 times in the last 2 minutes.
darn it. Well, anyways, my point is that I studied so much for the best goats, the best miniatures. Literally, it took me months, and I found the best. But let's put it this way: the people that raise those goats, oh goodness. So that was a story in itself. And then so I have right now I have Cookie and I have Monster, who is a mini Nigerian. They're in California, and then I have 2 mini horses. One's name's Gidget, one name's Bandit, and then I had a third named Maverick, who. That's a long story. And these horses are maybe 3 now, 3.5. Maverick was either abducted or he died. And it's a long story short because I visited him the day before, and where he was staying at this ranch at my friend's place, they went to their daughter's graduation at Princeton or one of the Ivy Leagues, and they had a girl taking care of her. What I maybe think happened, and I hope not because I care about these people, but it's in Adelanto, California. It's a bad place, and shady things happen all day. And I believe possibly that, and Maverick was a stud. He was the best one. He was my first one. I never wanted the other ones. Chelsea kind of convinced me, and then I fell in love, blah, blah, blah. But Maverick was my guy. My team was called the Mavericks, and Maverick was everything. He was so friendly, the coolest horse, the biggest one. He could tow a carriage by himself. We would train these minis to tow carriages so the kids could go around the stadium, and eventually we could do like promotions around the bases and run the bases. But long story short, Maverick either died or disappeared, and the answer was, oh yeah, he died. We don't know what happened. We're going to take care of it. I didn't see a picture of him. I didn't see anything. And then I was in Newport that night, obviously, so I couldn't drive out there 3 hours through the pass, so I went the next day. He was gone. So long story short, I don't know if he passed or if he was stolen, but I miss it. I think about him almost weekly. He was my favorite.
How much do you pay in like animal costs?
Well, it depends. It depends.
Is it a one-time thing or like a monthly thing?
No. You buy them and then you pay them monthly. But you negotiate when you learn sales. You negotiate and
Back to
you
the sales
trade and
skills.
you really leverage whatever you can. And really, it's about helping people, because if you know what they need, then they're going to help you with what you need, and that's a win-win.
Yeah.
Partnership in
Cool.
anything is how I kind of do it. But yeah, I miss the animals a lot, a ton. But can we go back to the the breakup? I really want to talk about that.
Sure,
where I'm at right now
yeah.
to kind of close off and kind of hopefully.
The last
Give
month.
some-
What's it been the last month been like?
Well, I was just telling you, it'll be fun to look back, at this conversation 20 years from now, if we're still kicking, hopefully.
This shit'll be out there somewhere.
And it'll be funny to look back and and laugh. But right now, I'll tell you, I'm a little bit confused, a little bit broken.
Okay.
Still the same person with my views and my values. But that being said, if you ask me what life's about, I think it's changing, as far as what I want out of it. And really, it's a month or two ago, I thought, I was going to get married and do whatever I could to find that beach ranch and get my animals back and start a family. And today, now being single, don't have my animals, don't have somebody that you were with for 9 years, and then really job-wise kind of thinking about, what's your purpose? Mm-hmm. And A, how you helping people, and B, are you making money?
Right.
Which the answer is no. Then you need to then kind of step back, like I said, and measure everything and start to analyze, which I've never done, to myself. So I'm in a period of time, and I'll tell you 3 stories that have really put me in a place to
Okay.
where I am right now. So the first one was after a basketball game at a place called Ozzy's, which actually is a blast. It's just a little crazy, on the weekends, and it's a lot of college kids and younger kids. And, it's a good place to go dance and let loose and drink a lot. And so I was with some good people from Buckley's, and the time before, a week before, apparently I blacked out because I have that issue when I drink too much. But apparently I shut the dance floor down, like literally like good stuff, right? But this time it was maybe a little bit different. And so I was doing my thing. I don't exactly again.
You're blacked out.
Yeah, and I thought I was doing good, right? I thought the moves were good. I thought everything was good, kosher. And I'm not. I really am. I'm not a dick. I'm not like even in my blackout mode. I've always been a bros before hoes. Like it's never about like, oh, let me see if I can. I don't need that confidence thing anymore. You know what I mean? It's more about a good time and laughing, and then I'm still crazy hurt. So, I'm not ready for that. But long story short, I think I was dancing with this dude's girl, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know, and she liked it, or I thought so, or whatever. And this is kind of me remembering, so it could be a whole different thing. So then I'm outside with Jay, and Jay drinks way too much, and so it's not like he could ever protect me or tell me what happened. And so I'm out there, and Eric, with a K, Lee, is getting our Lyft, not Uber, but Lyft, and next thing I know, I get socked in like cheap shot, like in the face, and nose, eye, and I broke my nose a few times. So like now, if I get hit, it's
Done.
yeah.
Totally.
So before, thank God Eric tackled me, because before it was one of those where you don't think you got hit, but then you just got hit, and then it takes about maybe 30 seconds. You're like, holy shit, I just got hit. Well, fuck that, So Eric tackled me. So I had all these bloody scars from Eric. So I woke up in the morning with a black eye, a broken nose, bleeding on my elbows, blood all over my sheets, and I kind of didn't have a clue what the hell happened, And
That's kind of scary.
I know, and I kind of remember texting Eric in the morning, and long story short, that was the first one. So then the second
Welcome
one,
to singlehood.
Yeah. It's not that cool.
Population.
Yeah.
You in a fist.
Get popped. So here's another one about another nose story. They said I'd had a nose for the game. I always got quoted that way. I call it distinction, when you got a little bit of an Italian schnoz. But anyways, so the second time, I don't know. It's insecurity on your nose being a little bit bigger. But the second time, which was not a fight. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter, And I'm like 170 pounds, so I get killed these days. But we're at Grimm's in Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. I think it was similar group, same group, and music, and I'm loving it. And apparently, I'm like doing my thing. And again, I'm just drinking way too much. Like I got say no, don't take a shot. Okay, I'll do it again. That's my problem, right? And so, long story short, having a blast, trying to be the life of the party. For fun, right? I want everybody to have fun and dance, and I black out. And so most of the time when this happens and when I get into my dance mode, I start kind of doing my own thing. It's not like I'm like, ooh, I'm going to find a girl and I'm going to dance with her the whole time. I'm dancing with everybody. And not in a weird way. Like, I'm dancing with guys, girls, not in a let me freak this dude in a hotel way, but I want to pump up everybody, and we're doing Michael Jackson kicks. I'm doing the splits, if you want me to. We're doing moves.
I've seen it firsthand, folks.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. I just enjoy it. And yes, part of it sometimes making a fool out of myself, but really part of it otherwise is just shaking it, right? And music makes me happy. But so Lean Like a Cholo comes on. Have you ever heard that song?
Nah, what the fuck is that?
It's it's perfect for East LA. It's got a freaking beat that's so funny. It's like a real rhythm, and the lyrics behind it is elbows up, side to side, lean like a cholo. So the whole club is elbows up, side to side, lean like a cholo. Well, of course, I'm dropping it like it's hot, and I come up from a drop, from a booty bounce, and I'm dancing with some big mamas. Because those are at the, you know what I'm saying? If you want to really shake it, and if you really, really want to shake it, who do you dance with? Some white skinny girl? No way, right?
They get attention all the time.
And they got no rhythm. It's like a dead fish.
So you're saying big girl got Big girls have
Dude,
rhythm.
big black girls have more rhythm and attitude.
Oh, of course. Black
than
people have more rhythm than
anybody on this planet. And I'm obsessed when it comes to just fun and dancing and shaking it. And, that's who I want to hang out with when we're doing that. So long story short, these friends of mine who I had made about 6 minutes earlier were freaking dropping it.
Right.
And one of them didn't see me doing the dip you dip I dip, leaned like the cholo to the right.
You caught an elbow.
Nailed me
Boom.
in the nose again. Dude, blood, the same thing.
Ouch.
And I woke up in the morning with blood all over my sheets, a black eye, a
Jeez.
blood mustache, and my face is still sore, And
Ouch.
so long story short, I'm going to quickly jump to the third and then finish and give you my moral of what's going on. Third story, last
Third
night.
time I met O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
That's from his Dave Chappelle's
Documentary, yeah.
No,
Oh.
that's from Dave Chappelle's latest stand-up.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me that.
It's pretty funny. Anyway, go ahead.
Third story was yesterday. We went to a place called Havana, Cuba, in Capitol Hill.
Havana.
That's with one, maybe two N's, and one V, one Ash silent. It's good. It's usually Tuesdays popping. Last time I was there, like real good talent. Great music. It's like 90s night, I think, on Tuesdays.
Word.
And so if you're looking for a place in Tuesday or in Seattle on a Tuesday to go dance, this is the place. But not last night. Wait till I guess the summer, because I haven't been there since summer. But anyways, so we go with a group of girls from Buckley's and a bunch of guys. The girls are all taken or whatever. So and they're friends, So it's fun. We're just hanging, we're dancing, we're drinking. I turned to one of them and I'm like, because I was like, you're not putting any effort in. We've been talking about this all night and like what's she gonna do and all these all these moves that I wanted to see and that we were gonna have a dance contest. So she's a little bit more shy, I guess, than I am. She wasn't
maybe
doing-
less drunk.
No.
Okay.
And so we were doing that, and then so I'm talking to her and the 4 or 5 others in the middle of the dance floor.
Right.
And I say, and I shouldn't have said this. I don't think I'm anything hot, but I do take care of myself. I'm fit, whatever, and I'm looking now for somebody similar. I mean, or at least I'm gonna shoot for the stars for like 5'10", blonde, blue-eyed, and fit or something. But anyways, so I turned to my friend, who's very good looking, and I'm like, hey, there's no really other hot girls here.
Quote.
So you need to freaking try harder, and I won't leave you, so there won't be any weird dudes coming in, and all of us will stay around here, and let's just have our own dance party, right? Within seconds, actually before that, the biggest blonde parakeet that I've ever seen started squawking. What? Look at you. You're ugly. What are you? And just
So
went
she was offended that
dude.
Ryan had said there's no hot girls in this
Went
place.
off.
And she heard.
Oh
and
my
was like,
god! In the middle of the dance floor, and there's music and
But like the thing is, to me, like I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I'm like, well, so what? Maybe it's his opinion that you're not hot,
right, and
that's
everybody
fine.
has different tastes.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, okay, why do you have to be all mad about it? Are you insecure enough that you think that you're hot?
Well,
Obviously she does, but I'm like, okay, that's cool, but you don't have to like yell at my friend for that. Like,
I felt
I wish
bad
I was
though.
there.
I felt bad because
I would feel bad for her too.
Well, no, I feel bad because I didn't
Cause
mean to.
that.
Yeah, and also what she thought was that, hey, I think that I'm like such
The
hot
shit,
shit.
yeah.
And really, like, obviously I don't, and I'm going
Right.
through some tough times. But long story short, after about a minute of being yelled at, and it seemed like 10 minutes, and everybody's looking, like literally, I swear the music stopped. I looked at her and I was like, I tried to be calm about it, and I was like, you're not even in this conversation. And I'm from California. We judge people differently. And so she didn't like that and went off. And so finally I lost it. I said something to this, like, shut the F up, you fucking toucan. Your nose is bigger than mine. Get away from me. And then I ran, and that ended my night. But long story short, and the whole premise and moral of these 3 situations is, dude, drinking like that, blacking out, and acting like an idiot doesn't fix the way you feel. And I don't want to act or be like I'm 21 again or whatever. And so I'm kind of, at this point, like I said in the past, I really need to focus on my health, my habits, my career or job,
Right.
family,
Yeah.
period, and stop messing around.
Well, at least you have the self-awareness to know that you're making mistakes. But I think even when you're going through a breakup or whatever, you need an outlet or a group of people or something that you're doing to distract you, build up the void that's created within you. So blacking out on a couple of mistakes is par for the course, really, for most people. But
It sucks, man, being given up on, you know what I mean, like that.
I think, you know what, to open new opportunities, you got to close some doors. So I think, honestly, we never really talked about this, but I think she was holding you back in a way.
I agree in some sort, but if she would ever commit or try, like, dude, I'm so grateful for the life I have because I get to do such cool things. I'm traveling all the time. I'm seeing so many things. I just don't think that there's a lot of factors that stop that. But
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I also would say that I just wish she saw it differently. And then I really do think that there'd be no difference between me and her sitting here with you and just me, if that makes sense.
I understand that, but I think
People are who they are.
they are who they are, and I think that she has ideals, and I don't know her from Jack. I don't know her at all, but she has ideals that I think you are buying into. You've bought into for a while that you want to create, but you don't have to because you're your own person. You can do whatever you want, and regardless of whatever happens in the end, it only hurts in the moment because you don't know where it's going to go. I guarantee 4 years from now, 2 years from now, whatever, you're going to look back and be like, yeah, that sucked then, and I didn't know it. But like right now, I would never be here if I didn't get to let go of, because I would never have made this move if I still was holding on to that person.
I agree somewhat, but I really do feel that at that time, even if it's 50 years from now, I'll be like, man, that person gave up on us. She gave up on me, and she was tainted by uncontrollable factors from my side, meaning family, church,
Yeah.
circumstances, Newport, all that stuff. So, like I look back, for instance, to a girl that I dated through college that I could have easily married, and she was a Mormon girl, and really, there were some there's always growing up factors, right? That test your relationship, but you get through those, and if you're strong enough and you commit to each other, nothing's gonna pull you apart. And I'm not talking about like physically cheating, but there's stuff that happens that you got to go through or whatever, and it's growing pains, maturity. And again, I have not been easy, and I'm still learning. But that being said, her family, the church, circumstances, distance, that, again, looking back, and I still think that however many years it is later. Now, if you ask me like who am I supposed to be with, that's like I wouldn't say like, oh, I was now supposed to be with her. Now, if you ask me that in 10 years or 20 years, am I supposed to be with Chelsea or whatever? I don't know. I don't know how I answer that, because I definitely could tell you that I felt a lot more for Chelsea than the last relationship, based on probably time, commitment, just what we went through. Like I really thought we were going to get married. So now, once you commit your brain, your life to that, then try to pull that back.
I know,
and it's just a big mind.
You got a lot
fuck.
of roots that are
out
there dangling now.
And you also, like, over that period of time, you cut every ties with any girl that you ever like were interested in. Yeah. You're not hanging out with your party friends anymore. Right. You're not schmoozing and networking with your big dogs and doing those trips. You're not like, there's a ton that I gave up that she never will understand because that wasn't her life.
True.
And also, like, I did it purposefully because
you know what would happen if you did it.
Yeah, distractions, right? It's like, for instance, I would today, like, I would never date again, or I wouldn't date like a Jennifer Lawrence, for instance, because I know that they're gonna cheat. You know what I mean? And there's gonna be nonstop sexual distractions all the time. Because when you have money and fame and that doesn't matter, then commitments change, and then you're put with all these beautiful people and unbelievable experiences, and really, who am I to say, hey, don't do that, right? Like it, and then you're talking about a much deeper.
You don't have the clout.
thing. You know, I was reading something with a director the other day on like Yahoo or something that had basically cheated on his wife with this one actress who's super hot, and she was with this other, married to this other actor. And basically his answer, which was pretty messed up, but it's true, was, you know what, I'm sorry, like, I'm not perfect. Life throws things at you, and you know, you adjust and you make the best of you. I'm sorry for what it is. And then I think, like, they got divorced, but anyways, the lasting quote was, I think he said, like, I'll continue to make mistakes because then life would be boring otherwise. And my point to that with those people is they live on a different plane, you know. And you can talk about Kobe, you could talk about Tiger, you could talk about, I mean, it's just, that's what it is, you know. And long story short, I don't want that in my life. Like, I want to find
regular, normal, down to earth chick.
Yeah, like, I don't need that stuff.
I call those closet chicks.
It's hard to find, you know. It is. It's hard to find like a girl that'll wear heels and get sexy, but then
knows how to tone it down, still looks good with no makeup.
These days.
No, man, I know exactly what you're saying.
And it's like, dude, how am I? I'm 34, 5.
Come on, dude. You're like, honest. Trust me. Like I said,
my age, they're all divorced, messed up, passed over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want seconds.
It's okay.
And then what am I gonna do? Marry a 20 something?
No, you're not gonna do that. But you're
young, you know?
Trust me. You're being who you are. You're a hot commodity.
You know,
stock's high on Ryan.
Maybe one day.
Not what I'm saying.
It's what coaches always said.
People,
you know, potential.
You even in your own state currently right now, you're totally better off than like 90% of the dudes I see that are trying to get out here and, like, you know, catch a fish.
Well, it ain't about that for me.
I know, I get it. That's what the intention is. Like, your intention is pure. Life, all of us life that we live is about intention and attention.
But today, I feel like you felt telling me about the Budweiser stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not spending money like that to get fired or whatever, which is why I was like, dude, I know you're not like that. But that being said, I'm miserable. I'm lonely. I met some great people out here, but I don't feel fulfilled. You know, a lot of those people, including you and, you know, Mitch and George, all those people will be my friends for forever. You know, but as far as like moving forward with finances, job, girl, life,
figure it out.
You know, I definitely am in that stage that you were in.
Yeah,
like,
I know, but it gets clear. But as long as you keep your intention, it's just like, I'm not gonna go like seek out some chick. I'm just gonna be me, navigate life like I do, and if I keep my intention pure, things gonna happen.
I think most people.
But you gotta work on you first.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Most people that are happy with themselves, right, or that are not insecure with themselves,
right,
they find happiness.
The stronger you make yourself, the more attractive you are. In an unsaid, I think it's weird. It's I don't know. You have to. Bottom line, you just gotta You gotta make yourself what I call like the strongest tree you can. Because when you're a really strong tree, nobody can push you over. And you know, weak trees can be bent and pulled different ways and whatnot. When you're a husky, huge tree, like, people can blow you and like knock your leaves off and chip. It's like, whatever.
Chop a branch.
Yeah, man.
I got others.
You can't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I'm good. I know who I am. When you know who you are, you have strong self-awareness.
I'm not there yet. I wish I was. I wish.
It takes time, man. It takes time. For me, personally, it was like three years of yoga straight, which yoga's not for everybody, but I did yoga every day. And kind of, it was like a pot that I heated up, and every day these demons would come up.
That's what I need to find.
You gotta face it.
I need to find, like, at first I was like, you know, athletic, water polo, whatever. That did that.
Whatever
for me,
it is,
right?
whatever your thing is.
And I hate to say this, but then it was whatever it was, partying, drinking, whatever it was, right? Just to let it out. It doesn't. It's not that now. And I need to find something, you know, that whether it's, you know,
whatever
yoga,
gets you there. For me,
church, whatever.
I'm not gonna judge anybody's
temple.
I'm not gonna judge anybody's path.
You know,
I've learned to not do that, but yeah.
So that's kind of, you know.
But anyway, let's wrap this up. Ryan Cook, it's been a pleasure. I got one question for you to wrap this up. If today you had to leave the planet. You knew you were going to be, it was gone. Any social media posts you have out there, any letters you written to anybody, were all going to be disappeared. No yearbook. You didn't exist anymore. You had 3 things that you'd like to tell humanity, anybody listening. What were the 3 things you would tell the world?
3 things. Family first. Make sure you take care of your own.
Mm-hmm.
I would also say, like, how people say, like, globalization. Well, I kind of believe in, like, internationalization, where, like, I believe the future, if we're still here, depends on that, and somehow coexisting and
with all races and cultures.
Yeah, I mean, this whole, like, Korea and Middle East, all that stuff, like, I know it's so much deeper than my intelligence level, and it goes back to all that. I don't know enough. However, I do know, and you noted, I don't care your color. I don't care who you are. If you're a good person, I do know that, and I know how to connect dots.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that internationalization can happen and that we can all live somewhat harmoniously. Is that against human animalistic existence? I don't know, but I think we're smarter than that. So I would say, family, internationalization, and really, the third thing would be about kids. It's just that, like improve education, take care of our youth, get them, health, like, and I know that sounds bad because it's like screw everybody else, but, like, to me, that's the most important thing in the world. And, like, I'll give you, like, a story. The 2 coolest kids I've maybe ever met, well, I gotta say shout out to Coco, my little sister's kid, but they live in my building, and these little blonde kids or whatever from North Carolina, and one's like 3 or 4, a boy, and one's like 6 or 7, girl. Dude, they're the coolest people I've ever met, and I'd hang out with them all day, every day. And then when I first met them, their mom was like, dude, to their dad, who's like a buddy of mine, or at that point, kind of. Yeah. It was like, dude, this guy, like, chill, like, he's got many animals, like, like, hey, look up the sexual offender list or whatever, But really, like, my favorite thing in the world is kids and then the animals, and probably sports. But I think the most important thing that we need to focus on then is really our youth and making sure that they have what they need, to become us one day and take care of everybody. So I would say, then to wrap it up, I would say family, obviously taking care, and really I guess I would say taking care of who brought you up, who took care of you. Family could be could mean many things.
Broad stroke.
Yeah. But just taking care of community. So community, right?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing.
You already got 3.
No, I know. I'm just recapping. I'm just recapping. But then the most important thing to me would be the kids. And health. Like I said, health, food, water, all that stuff, education. I don't know if that's a good answer. It's a hard question. It's a hard
Bounced
question.
around on me a little bit there. It's all good, though. But anyway, Ryan, I thank you for being a guest on my podcast. Big shout out to everybody who's made it this far to the end. I appreciate you guys. NBZ Podcast Episode 2. Ryan Cook, thank you.
Boom.
Just remember to just be easy.